Hey guys, thanks for watching the Smite Draft League. We've got divine interviews for you today as we get started with the playoffs. So make sure you follow twitch.tv/Smite Draft League for all the finals games, and the VODs get posted here on YouTube just like they always are. Enjoy the interviews. Thanks to the players. See you guys.
Hello, everyone. Hope you're all enjoying playoffs of Smite Draft League Season 2. I'm Deelo, joined here by two members of playoff contending team Divine Eclipse. I'm joined here by Mental Depressed, the fearsome jungler, as well as the captain of the team, and of course, the dashing solo laner, Troll Academy. Troll and Mental, thank you guys very much for joining me.
No problem, boss man.
Pleasure's mine, yeah.
So I'm just gonna get right on into it because I'm really all looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say. And just always important to look into the player behind the execution. You want to learn the personalities getting into it. So very much appreciate making the time for us here. So my first question, I'm going to start off with my friend Troll over here because solo lane's always, I think, an interesting area, and I think it's got some kind of misconceptions surrounding it. So Troll, my question for you is, what do you think is the biggest misconception players have of the solo lane? But what also cliche do you hear oftentimes about the solo lane that you think is spot on? I'm looking for both sides of it.
I mean, for the solo lane, a lot of people think that either going full damage or hybrid. Hybrid is kind of a difficult thing to really accomplish, considering there aren't really many hybrid items anymore. Like with Glad Shield being changed, for example, or like other items like that. It's not really an easy spot for solo lane. You have to kind of like mix it up, and a lot of solo laners like Erling Chan, which is a bad god in its own right, but it just makes it a whole lot more difficult for him to really play in the solo lane, kind of making him non-existent. More gods, like kind of lane bully wise, it's more or less just a dominant lane bully role at this point. But with the new patch coming out, and tanks can be more tanky with the nerf of pen and other stuff like that, it makes it a little bit easier for solo to have that dominant hold as the tank, the front line, and not die in 2 seconds, basically.
That's some really good insight, man. I appreciate that. Do you hear any cliches that you think are actually very accurate? You're like, okay, that is true.
Not that I personally know of. I used to be a solo main back in like season 6. Nowadays, I'm more or less just kind of in the back seat of the solo lane. I kind of keep up with more of the recent stuff. I don't really keep track of, stuff kind of like cliches or anything like that. Personally,
I force him to play it.
Basically,
As a good dictator does, Mental. I'm seeing a pattern here. I respect that. So did both of you guys, that actually leads me to a follow-up question just based off that. Did you guys both kind of naturally fall into your roles, or was there some kind of changing up there?
Last season, Troll Academy and I were actually on the same team last season. Picking him up was like a no-brainer almost. And then he wants to play mid lane so badly, but with the pool of solo laners that was in the pool, I knew he was probably the strongest out of all of them. Considering there are some very good players that were in the pool, but I also know his availability. I know how he is, and I also work very well with him. So it's kind of like, yes, I do force him to play it, but it's only because I have no other choice.
It's only because you love him.
100%. It's all love.
Like any good parent. I respect that.
Love, hate.
Aw, very cute. What about you, Mental? Then in that case, jungler. How did you fall into that? Was that just a natural flow for you?
Smite's not my first MOBA. And I know, right?
Can't say that.
I know.
No, I'm kidding.
But the jungler role is more of the fast-paced, more heavy on the thinking, less on mechanical skill aspect. You're not as required mechanically as, say, the 1v1 matchups in mid, in ADC, even support in solo especially. But the funny part about it is coming in the playoffs, I may not even be in the jungle. We will be seeing how that ends up. I know week 7 games are being casted, but there was a couple spicy moments in our game versus Divine Flourish that were pretty fun. I ended up playing support a game. It was a fun time. My support's back from vacation, but yeah, we'll be possibly looking at role swaps coming into playoffs, depending on how things go.
Okay, appreciate that insight. That's really cool to hear about the changing of tactics. Appreciate you giving us that little gleaning of info.
Oh, it's gonna be fun. Hopefully, it turns out how I think so. No, not at all. You're staying solo.
No. You don't know
okay. Sorry, buddy. You tried. I respect the attempt. Okay, so next question here for you. This one's for you here, Mental. As a captain, just uniquely as that unique role that you have there, how do you rally your team after a tough loss, and how do you also celebrate a crazy, unexpected victory?
Shut up.
And Troll, you're welcome as a person who's also been on the
Uh,
receiving
uh,
end of that kind of coaching there from Mental. You're of
I,
course
I,
welcome to join in too. Actually, hold on. Let's start. I'm curious to hear from Troll's perspective and Mental. I'd like to hear from the captain's perspective.
Go right ahead. Yep.
What you got, man?
well, so it mostly depends on some of the matches. A good example of the match was me as Guan and Mental's Neja when we went against what team was it? Mental?
Sanctified.
Sanctified, Divine Sanctified. Like I was kind of mostly carrying the match as 1v3 stuff like that. But when we started picking up the pace, our team was a lot more energetic, and by the time we did win that first Sanctified match, we were like high hopes, and we just took it into like our next match, and we just repeated the same process. And if you
So
want-
to
yeah.
to piggyback off that, I keep a very high energy with my team. I know that our morale is everything, and when mentals break, mentals break. We took
It makes
game
sense.
2 as the first game we won in that set. Game 1, we went into in a tough matchup, especially for the mid lane, since my second round pick was out for the night, and I almost didn't even have him entirely. We got him game 3. It's when Cube to Face actually was available, and Kat going into Rayhem of all people was not a fun matchup for her, and it was kind of daunting. We put her on a god that she was comfortable on, but rallying the team, hey, it's fine, we're gonna get moving. We keep it moving, keep moving, keep moving. Like that game's there, we can't fix the past, so you got to move forward, keep the mentals high, keep moving, and then when we do get hyped, I keep the energy going as long as humanly possible. I'll carry it out for weeks on end. Like I'll carry games that we had energy wise in game week 1 and bring it into week 4 if need be, just
That's
so that
cool,
we
man.
can keep the mentals up, because a couple of these teams are terrifying to look into going into again. Definitely, it's hard getting when you do have a hard loss to come back, but as long as you keep moving forward, and as the captain, I can't really afford to have anybody thinking that even I'm mentally depressed, as ironic as that name
Despite the
is.
name.
Yes.
Who
But I keep them energy high. I made sure that all my guys and girl are taken care of. I always talk to them, make sure they're on comfort picks, make sure that we're rocking and rolling. If we do have a loss, we go more into comfort picks the next game. We don't worry about the meta, just play what we need to play, move forward. I know that my guys are great. I know I have some of the best players in their slots. I know we got undervalued in the ratings, but it's okay, because as a team, we're a lot stronger than as solo players.
That's a really respectful perspective. Thank you guys both for giving me each of your offerings there from your views. Appreciate that one. All right, next question in that case. So, Season of Hope's here. Season of Hope's here for now at the very least. When it comes to the Season of Hope, have you guys been enjoying it generally, and what opportunities, if any, has it like opened up for each of you as individual players, or maybe what opportunities has it closed?
So funny enough, I will be taking the stand on this one. We hate this new patch.
Damn!
It nerfed our team so badly, you don't even understand.
All right, so some more fun questions here going into it now. I'm gonna toss this one to each of you, so both of you guys are gonna get your time to shine here. If you guys could go in the octagon for 3 rounds with any god, they don't have their powers, who would you want to fight? Why? Troll, starting with you.
Oh, I love martial arts. I actually did do that when I was
Hey, some
younger.
troll lore. Let's go.
Yeah,
All right, so Troll,
yeah.
who we taking out, man? Who we putting in a headlock?
Personally, I could probably throw down a Sasano, maybe.
Ooh, you think? Okay, but why? Why are you trying to bully him, man?
Well, I used to do a lot of judo kind of stuff like that. As
Okay.
I did that for quite a while. I don't remember exactly how, more my younging years, but I more or less think that sure he might have all the muscle and all that, but I still probably think that I can probably throw down in some way, shape, or form.
I respect you taking a hard pick, honestly. That sounds like it'd be a good fight. I'd pay good money for that, honestly. That might be a after show special when we get someone, I guess, a Susano lookalike, I suppose. We don't really have a real one, but very good answer there, my friend. All right, Mental, to you.
You said no powers whatsoever, right?
No powers. They don't got their powers. They just got
Bare
no
bone.
swords, no nothing. No Storm Kata for Susano.
No
just
weapons. Got it. Okay, perfect. So, definitely gonna be Loki.
Loki. Okay,
Yep,
wow.
yep. I boxed for 5 years.
Dang, there's some
competitively,
fighters here on the field.
I went 5-0 in the ring. Octagon might be a little different, but I definitely would definitely throw hands with Loki. I think that'd be a fun
you
one.
got a scrapper then. You're not going to be, wrestling on the mat. You're
No,
gonna be
no,
up
not at
top.
all. I
Okay,
like
I
standing on my
respect that.
feet. I like standing on my feet.
All right, this question's gonna be more specific. So, loyal viewers of the Selfies channel, the Discord, will know that Mental Depress is always making gym gains on top of his Smite gains. Mental, do you see any interplay between how you approach a set when you're at the gym repping, or when you approach a set in Smite? What's the interplay there?
So, kinda in a way. I mean, I see it more as a fight than anything, because I am training to go back in the ring. Yes, because when you're getting the crap kicked out of you and it looks bad, you can't buckle. And also being that like you work on it, especially my team, like with these last weeks and going into playoffs, we had a few tough losses. I'm not gonna say they were very spectacular losses, but we got beat down a little bit, and we're gonna coming in for the last rounds of the season, and we're gonna come back and swing really hard. We're ready to rock and roll.
I respect that answer. Yeah, definitely can't buckle. Otherwise, we've all seen those videos of people on the leg press. It doesn't end pretty for them. Their legs
Not
go,
at all. Not at all.
their bones go the wrong way. I
Yeah,
respect
no,
that answer.
that's
Thanks, man.
yeah.
All right, Troll, toss one your way, my friend. Troll, if you can hang out with Guan Yu for a day, what would you do with him?
Oh, that's interesting. Well,
What you gonna do with that guy? He's right there.
I mean,
got
I
his
do
whole-
like some tea. Maybe I can probably hold that, big weapon of his. I wonder,
that would
like,
be pretty cool.
I'm
Might
curious
get
as to,
arrested, but
maybe, but I mean, if I'm hanging out with him for a day, I'm sure he can help me avoid him with his horse.
that's true.
Because,
Okay, man.
that's a pretty big horse. If
It is a pretty
towers
big horse.
very curious to see how big of a horse it really is.
Well, unfortunately, we here at Smite Draft League don't quite have the analysts yet with that data. We'll get on that soon, though. Thank you. That's a good answer, my friend. Alrighty, guys. My final question here for you today is going to be, so, round 1 playoffs. You guys are set to take on Wild Inferno. Are there any hints at strategy you guys can slide our way, perchance? If not, I have a follow-up question.
So watching and reviewing Wild Inferno, because gotta do what you gotta do for
course. Study
looking
them
over.
both.
And fun fact, they are the only team we didn't face in the actual season, so this is gonna be fun. It
Ooh.
turned out perfectly. Like, we did not face them in the actual season, so
Yeah, man.
coming into this, we actually get to play them, which is a great time. I actually like playing all the teams at least once. But going into them, Zoinked. I mean, we've seen it before and see it again. We're not allowing him to have some gods. Certain water-based surfboard riding, if you wear the right skin, gods are not going to be allowed in the field.
Hey, what if he doesn't ride this? Maybe just use a different skin. Can we do it then?
Not allowed.
Ah, tried.
But certain gods will not be ending the arena or the battlefield if he.
I hope it's not
when we play
arena.
them.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Don't get me wrong, but
I do like some
going
good
into them,
old-fashioned arena.
definitely they have a very strong dynamic with their support and their jungler. We have their number now. We got a taste of what they can do and how they handle themselves, but I think we have a pretty good idea of how we're going to take them on.
All right, Troll, anything you want to
Especially-
add to that, man?
I mean, me personally, I don't know if Mental will get mad, but I do like some good old boxing. Maybe I
Sounds
don't
like
even.
Mental's like that too, man. He's been at it.
Oh, honestly, I would like to see that solo laner again. I don't even remember their name personally because I normally.
It's going to be a fun playoffs. If depends on how game 1 goes, game 2 will be very interesting for the cast. I will pull out one of my favorite picks.
Don't be. The
I played it.
please.
I play him every once in a while in the jungle.
He's like, oh god.
I better not see that Ganesh. I better see that Bacchus though.
Ooh, I would love to see it. Jungle Loki, dude. He's perfect.
I played it game 1. I played it game 1 of the season.
He's gonna give you all the kills, Troll. Why? Come on, he's trying to help you out.
I do. No, I played it game 1 of the season.
I don't like sharing credit though.
Nah.
Soul laners, right?
No, I give it all to my duo and my mid. And
There. Yeah, he's not
Leaving
even
me
getting
in the
busy,
dust.
bro.
Leaving
He's-
me in
no,
the
no,
he-
dust.
I
that's
tell
part of
Troll. I literally tell Troll have fun, and
GG.
leaving me in
I'll
the
see you in
dust,
level 20.
SMH.
Yeah, exactly. I'll see you when you start like actually rotating. And I forget he exists.
That's awesome. You're like,
I
he's
just
in the
don't
comments. He's like,
talk.
I just got. He's in the comments.
I
Like, I just
just
got
don't
triple
talk.
kill. It's like, oh shit, Troll's still here.
Honestly,
basically.
when I'm in, when I'm in the soul lane, I would honestly, personally, just mute everyone and just listen to music.
All right. Oh,
'Cause that-
what kind of music? What kind of music is Troll listening to?
oh
What you got,
god.
Troll?
Okay. Well, I do
What you
listen
vibing
to.
to?
All right. Well, I have a few
You
musical
say
artists.
you want to say Pitbull as in Mr.
Pitbull, yeah.
Worldwide?
Yeah, Mr. Worldwide.
Oh god. Anyways, yeah,
I got.
but anyways,
awesome.
heading into Wild Inferno, they are not a slouch of a team whatsoever. We're not underestimating them going in. They will be. It'll be a fun set.
I'm certainly looking forward to seeing it, and I'm sure.
Now
the
that
cast
we
is also
have
looking
this
forward to it.
meta on lock, we will definitely be giving y'all a show. to say the
Appreciate
least.
that. Alrighty, guys. Well, thank you very much both for your time. Any last comments you guys have here for the audience here before we peace on out?
If anyone bans my Guan, you're scared of the Guan.
You heard first, folks. Yeah, do not touch that Guan or Troll be coming for you.
And also don't sleep on my team. It'll be a fun time.
Alrighty, you heard it here from the people themselves, from both members of Divine Eclipse here, Mental Depressed, joined here by Troll Academy. We all thank you very much for joining us, and we will love to see you guys all in the playoffs. Thank you all very much for watching. We'll catch you all on in the games.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Smite Draft League. We got a little bit of look behind the scenes here. I'm sitting with an interview for Divine Sanctified, joined by the team captain King of Darkness and Nicodrin. So, I think first off, how do you guys feel going into playoffs? Are you confident? Is there anything, you're a little stressed about? What are you guys feeling?
Yeah, I'm actually feeling pretty good about going into this tournament, even though we haven't had the best regular season. The last couple sets that we've got to play, we've noticed a big improvement from the start of the season and progressing each week. I think I've actually been very happy with how the team has been playing, especially in the last two sets, even though they were losses. We fixed a lot of things that were glaring issues, I feel, at the beginning of the season. And all we got to do is just clean up the late game a little bit. And I think we're like at the cusp of finding a lot of success.
Yeah,
And,
listen, like what Nico's missing is it was all according to plan, We meant for this to happen, like last place to champions. It's absolutely calculated.
It's a storyline.
It's actually calculated, yeah.
Definitely is. And I think going more into specific games, do you all put any specific prep into games, like for different opponents? Do you just get on, cook up some generic strats and kind of roll with it? Kind of what's your mental going into every game?
Yeah, we do kind of prep for every game each differently because every team is different, and we also what her best like playstyle is, and we try to emulate that as best as we can.
The team asked me to play Hades, Hercules, and that's all the prep I get.
Okay, that is not true. Yo, just say Hades and Hercules one trick. What do you want me to say?
I just but honestly, solo doesn't feel too different. Depending on who I'm really playing against. Mostly because of the lane right now. I don't think there's a lot of skill expression in the lane. Obviously lane matchups and whatnot will let you have some like bonus gold or whatever, but it's not anything too like impactful. Like I think a set where I played against Gear Chief, I believe. I was playing Vimana and he was playing Hades. And that's a matchup I know I'm not going to clear first or anything until I'm getting Golden Blade. And you'll see me down probably like 300 gold. But that's an insurance that I'm not going to lose my lane technically because like I'm giving up that 300 gold now in order for me to stay in lane and be able to do what I need to once I get that golden blade. Dying early game to like a Hades there would be way worse than if I just give up like a little lane pressure early until I farm like for golden blade. So it's not really, you don't really get too punished for like playing a little safe or whatnot, because at the end of the like day, it's basically about just team fighting right now, I would say, in this meta. Not really laning phase in solo. So it's not too much prep, I would say, at least in solo lane, that you gotta worry for.
Yeah, so like 90% I would say is like played in picks and bans. So like of course we do get like target banned a lot because they're scared, but the rest of the game, yes, we do kind of need to like adapt as the game goes on.
Definitely. I think adaptation's always a big thing we talk about on the desk. And then I think going more into kind of picks and bans, stuff like that, are there any kind of new strategies you're cooking up for playoffs, whether that be specific gods, if you're playing more aggressive, more conservative, anything like that you're looking to change, obviously without giving anything away going into the games?
I think so, yeah. Of course, there's always like some bucket picks that like we never got to show, and of course we're gonna try and show them as best as we can.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely have some stuff up my sleeve. I mean, I think the last set, Reham and I took all 10 bans in both games. And
Yeah,
there was still a lot of stuff that I was looking to pick. There wasn't anything that like they ban out the Herc, pick the Hades because they're so scared, Gotta no. But it's not like I don't have like other picks like waiting. I'm actually looking forward to them banning Hades so I can play these picks. Ban Hades, ban Herc. So I can have a little fun, can play something different during the season.
Oh no,
But
don't say that. Now they're just not gonna ban them.
but no. Honestly, we've actually been working a lot on drafts and stuff, and I think we're at the point where we know what works and can interchange certain things. We know how we want to play, and unfortunately, the season was a little too short for us, and we didn't get to play the last two sets just because of scheduling issues. But we've been practicing a lot, so looking forward to
Yep.
testing them out.
Yeah, definitely like to hear that the team's ready to go rolling into playoffs. And then I think piggybacking off that a little bit, do you all have a specified shot caller in your squad, or is it more kind of everybody has input, you all decide as a team, or do you just got that one person making things happen?
I would say like everyone is equally shot calling sometimes. We don't have this one shot caller every time, but like we can all shot call at some points of the game.
Definitely like to hear that, a squad where everybody's got at least a little bit of input. And then is there anything specifically looking at the first matchup of the playoffs? I think you guys are taking on Dark Omen, who's a 3 seed. You doing any special prep for them, or are you kind of treating it like, just another week, another opponent, kick them out, see them next week?
Basically, another opponent, another week. I mean, of course we got a plan, but for her own game, we don't really. We're past the point where you gotta like pick like everything the other teams does and then try to counteract it. I think we should just focus on her game at this point.
Definitely like seeing that. Your own game is the most important, but I think that's about going to wrap it up for us here. I think I speak for everyone on the casting team when I say congrats for getting this far already, making it into the playoffs, and best of luck with your run.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, I've got Divine Wild Inferno with me. I'm joined by Frost Tech and Almond Butter. And guys, thank you for taking the time to do an interview with me before your games get started. How are you guys doing?
Pretty good. Glad to be here.
Pretty good too, man.
Awesome.
Been good.
Love to hear that. And all right, let's just get right into it and go crazy. So you guys have been a very sneaky, talented team. I mean, from scouting grounds, Almond Butter actually kind of had Nooblet singing the praises of your Maui ult, and in the draft, he was surprised you fell where you did. Landing at number 4 in the seeding. It's certainly impressive, ahead of 2 other teams, but definitely not at the top. What do you think has been the key to you guys being consistent and making it as the 4th seed?
Well, I'd like to go first on that one. I think that our team works really well off each other, and our ability to communicate has just increased and gotten better throughout the game. As you're probably aware, we got traded very early on, so there was a bit of a shock early on. But the rest of Wild Inferno has been very kind to me, and I think communication was my number 1 most lacking skill. I've never played a competitive mode before this, and the team's really gotten me out of my shell, and our shot calling has improved 20 times over throughout one season.
That's fantastic to hear. I mean, it's one of the number 1 goals is giving people that place to experience competitive and grow. So hearing you did that means the goal was achieved. So that's fantastic to hear. And, you brought up the trades. Your team had one of the biggest trades, and the transactions page was lit up pretty quickly by Wild Inferno. How has that impacted your team's performance? And you mentioned that, Almond Butter, you mentioned that it really brought everybody together and that they were very welcoming. Have you guys found that where we're at now, it almost doesn't even feel like you guys were transactions?
I'll hop in here. I feel like that as soon as we joined Wild Inferno, we started playing in scrims like 2 or 3 times a week. We started racking up the time played together, playing in casuals and arenas, just trying to get our synergy together. And since Omen and I were traded together and we're both the front line, we already had like that kind of sense of each other. Like I don't know if you can recall, but in the first game, me and Omen were always on the front line, always there, always ready for a fight, and that translated very well to our next team, Wild Inferno, and we have a very dominant ADC and mid laner, so it makes it really easy for us to do our job when they can do theirs.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's, every team you got to find, and it's never really an ego thing or like a skill diff thing, but you always got to find like what you want to work inward to outward on. I think you guys found that very quickly and effectively, and like I said, especially towards the end of the season here. All right, so you guys are facing Eclipse in your next match, and of course, without giving away too many secrets, do you guys think you've identified any weaknesses, previous sets, anything that you can use to your advantage? I mean, how are you preparing to face them, especially given you didn't get a chance to play them in the season, which adds its own piece of intrigue to it?
Yeah, so I'm not the intel guy, but we do have a couple plans. We actually got our butt kicked by Nehu's team in the SEC qualifier tournament, and we're planning on incorporating a couple things they did to us.
Okay.
They actually even made it. They made it into the SEC. Yeah, we're also hoping to just completely stomp as they did to us. But
yeah,
if that one's not implementable, some of their strategies as a team are, and I don't think anyone. If we manage to execute it, I don't think anyone in the Divine division's ready for it.
Heck yeah. I love hearing that, especially, that's one of the most valuable things you can do in any esport or real sport is take what's done to you and use it to your own advantage. It's, if you can't beat them, join them sounds silly, but it's said because it works. So how do you guys manage shot calling on your team? And you just said you weren't the intel guy, so I'm curious how you guys will describe this. And specifically, because this is one that, I was on the cast for this, and the whole scenario was kind of insane. Who made the call for Zoink to Mercury ult in on the Titan for Flourish after they kind of threw the game away, respectfully, of course, when they left the Titan room, when they left the throne room to go defend Fire Giant, and Fire Minions just kind of tore through it?
So I talked to Zoink after that game, and he was saying that the idea was brewing in his mind around 15 minutes in. He's like, wouldn't it be cool if I just ulted in there and ended the game? And Almond was like, hell yeah, man, send it. And then everyone was like, once we get an opening, let's try and start the fight in mid, and then we'll send you running on down. And like the results said, it worked just like that after a little hesitation, but it got there.
Yeah, it did. And it
Yeah.
was impressive because it was hard to tell from the spectator. Go ahead, Alman.
Yeah.
No, it was kind of hard to tell from our perspective too. The plan of
Yeah.
start a fight
Yeah.
in mid worked real well. We then just kind
He
of
almost got caught in the
evaporated.
jungle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. He almost got caught. We kind of evaporated in mid. So it went from a planned Mercurial, like the plan was to do that, into okay, he has to do it now.
Yeah, or we're gonna
Please do
throw-
it now.
Yeah.
And then hilariously we did some some close inspection of that. He wouldn't have killed the Titan without the Aegis of Judgment there. That was the
Yeah,
key
that- Oh,
difference.
because it went off the
Yeah.
searing pain, so it would have right.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Aegis of Judgment was the key difference.
Those things are so hard to catch in a cast, but now you said I got to go back and look at that because that's a crazy thing to notice.
And to add on to the shot calls thing,
Yeah.
it's mainly Zoinked and Hack, and then Hey late game will kind of take over on that when he's a part of the team fights. And I don't talk a lot for like the first 15 minutes. I'm just brawling.
Yeah, you're kind of on an island.
Yeah, yeah. And then Alman, he just goes around, lets us know like what's up, what's down. Tries to spot rotations, as does Zoinked, but it's always good to have an extra eye in a jungle running around.
100%.
My shot calling skills are limited solely to set play. If we're at a Phoenix, I can tell you what I want the play to be. I cannot like live commentate it.
Yeah, you can't Maui steal a Phoenix, man.
Yeah. My only
that's true,
weakness.
Yeah. All right, for the final question, let's get a bit more fun with it. So if you guys hung out, if Divine, Wild, Inferno were to hang out, who do you guys think would be the life of the party among your team?
Well, I know Hay
Personally-
would bring the McDonald's.
Yeah, Hay would bring the McDonald's.
Okay.
He would show fashionably late. That's an inside joke there.
Okay,
But
I mean, hey, it's important for anybody though.
yeah. And I feel like me and Almond would be the loudest ones there, the life of the party. And then Hay would just be bringing the food. Hack would I don't know what Hack would be doing. I know Zoinked would be probably slumped on a couch, but Hack, I'm not too sure. He's hard to read at times. In my
It's fun to be
opinion, Almond, you're
mysterious
up.
like that, though.
I don't know. I always kind of see myself as more of a wallflower. True to the support I am, I would just kind of
For
follow
sure.
someone around.
Make sure they're okay.
Oh no,
Just
no,
follow
I'm
me,
attached
man.
for
Just
my.
follow me.
Yeah.
Okay. I was
No,
gonna say,
no,
are you
I'm
the guy
attached for
handing
my
out
own
water at
protection.
the party, reminding people to hydrate and put some food in their stomach.
The dad of the group.
Yeah.
No, so I definitely am that for one of my friend groups. Yeah.
Yeah. I get that. I mean, I'm not so much the dad of the group so much as I am just the designated. Oh, he doesn't drink, so that's Captain. Make sure we don't die. But
Yeah.
that's kind of the go-to for me as well. But no, that's awesome, guys. And is there anything you want to say here at the end? Anything you want to put out there before you guys get into your set?
We're looking forward to a good match against Eclipse and a rematch with Flourish.
All right, I like that. I like the energy.
We will be there. Top 2. We're gonna be there.
Okay.
It's okay.
I respect it. I love the energy. I love the competition. Thank you guys again so much for taking time to talk with me. And I speak for production when I say, best of luck in your sets, and be awesome to see you guys move on and give us a show.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
guys.
you.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Smite Draft League. I'm KingFsher, and we got another pre-playoff interview here with the Divine Sunbreakers. I'm joined by the team captain, Cactus Arms, and one of their newest additions, Trap Bunny. How are you guys doing?
We're vibing.
Doing great today. Thanks.
Nice. Love to hear it. So I think first off, kind of just generally, how are you guys feeling going into playoffs? Are you confident? What are your emotions like right now?
I would definitely say confidence, a good word to use. A couple teams that give us some pause, give us some things to think about, and definitely interesting going into the challenger team week 1. They don't have a whole lot uploaded on the YouTube channel and whatnot, so not a whole lot of scouting to do other than personal experience with players. So that's something we're having to dig into.
Definitely confident. Feeling a little playoff nerves too. See a lot of good teams in playoffs right now, and I'm excited to play each of them as we go through the bracket. Echo that about the challenger team too. I'm very curious to see how they play since really don't know anything about the circuit right now.
Yeah, definitely more difficult prepping against those teams, and I think that kind of leads into the next question: is what kind of prep normally goes into your games? Do you kind of customize it versus who you're going against, strategize like that, or is it just kind of general? 1 week's done, let's move on to the next. Kind of always looking towards the future.
Oh, definitely a lot of prep goes in. Shout out to Artie. That guy's a tape demon. He will watch through every single set that he can find that a team has ever played, and come back with a, not even joking, 2 to 5 paragraph explanation of how we want to play against the team. Everything from what picks they like to do, what type of play style they like to play with, whether they know that or not even. Just a lot of intel gathering. Definitely a lot of practicing out comps, trying new characters, seeing how stuff works. Especially interesting with the new patch that came out today, or not today, yesterday. Sorry. Trying out some new things, trying to get ready for playoffs. We actually got a scrim after we hop out of here with you guys. So
I just like that, and a shout out to Henergy as well, our team coach. I'm thinking he'll be around going into playoffs, and having that other set of eyes around to give us advice has been super helpful in the past, and I'm thinking will be helpful going forward too.
yeah, to echo off of Trap Bunny, shout out to Henergy. Even when we win, he still has something to learn from it. There hasn't been, I think, a single game where we haven't learned or taken something away from the game, whether it be a win or a loss. Not to be cocky or anything. Not that we've been doing a lot of losing, though.
Ooh, I mean, I think that's justified. You guys have been doing pretty solid the entire season, and I think that just kind of goes into the next one. How do you feel about your season as a whole? Obviously, you ended up in second place. Were you kind of hoping for first, or maybe surprise yourselves, or just general feelings on how the whole season went?
Definitely not surprised we came in second. We lost to Flip's team week 1. Week 1 was definitely a little bit of a struggle. Giant Dog is not off rolling, but hurt. He's not primary rolling or secondary rolling. He's actually third rolling as our jungler. So it was a lot of getting used to not just the role, but also playing with each other, just adjusting general play style. Getting used. Also, when it came to our draft, I actually drafted Koala as our solo laner originally, and all the ADCs I wanted to pick actually got scooped up within the next 6 picks. So I had to sort of backpedal a little bit, moved Koala over to ADC, and then picked up Optic as sort of a secondary choice. Obviously, you guys have seen how he's played all season. It is insane that he was even a secondary choice for me. The dude's absolutely insane. Don't let him pick Nazah. It will be bad for you. So, yeah, we lost to Flourish week 1, but after that we've just we've been putting in the time, winning games, doing what we do.
Absolutely. As a late addition to the team, I'm pretty happy with how the season went. It felt pretty natural joining the team after my little play-in game with them. Everyone just seems to mesh really well, and I think we've got a great team environment, which really contributes to it. I think that we've got pretty good mentals overall, and I'm win or lose the playoffs, I'm very happy with how we've done this season.
Definitely should be. It's really gone your guys' way after that first week. And I think you talked about like mentals and team synergy as a whole. And do you guys have kind of a designated in-game leader, shot caller, or is it more everybody gets some input, you decide as a team, or is it just that one person kind of making the decisions?
So when it comes to like macro play, I'm usually the one making calls of like, hey, let's go for let's go for a duo lane gank, maybe try to knock their ADC out, bait their jungler over, maybe get a kill or two off of that, and then force a gold fury. Just overarching, this is what we're trying to do over the next couple minutes in game. Whereas Eam and when he plays, or Evan, our mid laner, are a lot more of the like second to second calls during team fights. So calling that, hey, Koala's got somebody on him. We need to focus out this guy. We need to drop the objective. That type of things. Obviously, you always have the moments where you're like, Tyr is punching me in the head. Please help. Type of moments. So, we do a good job of keeping comms as non-bloated as possible, so that when there is a moment like that, we can hear when somebody needs assistance, and make the rotations, make the movements through the team fights.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we do a really good job of pivoting off of calls too. Like if two people have different calls, we're able to pivot towards one quickly. We don't like bicker about it. There have been times where our solo Optic will call for me to take Phoenix with him or something when I was headed towards mid, and we can just pivot quickly like that to change up the strategy. And I think that's worked really well for our team. In addition to having you as our primary shot caller, Cactus, and then Evan and I kind of doing some micro shot calls in the lanes.
I mean, hey, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Definitely looking really good with those. And I think kind of leads into the next point where you've been doing strong all season long, finished in second place. Obviously, team chemistry flowing really good in game comms. Are there any kind of new strats and playstyles you're planning for the playoffs now that everyone's kind of had that 2 month long period to get to know your playstyle? Or is it more just it's working, let's stick with it? Which those is it more like, obviously without giving away any of your big strats.
With Evan in the mid, you guys saw him pull out the Wheelix mid one game. He's run ADCs, he's run mages. Little spicy. I'll let you guys in on this. He's been trying out the Atlas. He thinks it's sort of trash, but I wouldn't be surprised if he pulled it out just for fun. And then in terms of jungle, Dog can run anything from setup to initiate to just raw damage. Really have enjoyed watching him step up throughout the season. Just mesh with the team. Like I said previously, it being his third role, I feel like it's pretty good to be rated 4th overall jungle in the division by the casters when you're literally playing your third role.
So in other words, we're finally getting serious. No, I'm kidding. But I think what it comes down to is like Cactus has been echoing. We're looking to find comps that we are all comfortable on and synergize well. Playoffs.
Comfortability over meta, I think definitely always a good thing. And then I think looking forward more into playoff like specific matchups, we've talked about the whole season, kind of talked about your thoughts heading into it. When you look at your week 1 opponents, obviously coming out from Challenger Division, there's not a lot of film on them, not a ton that you guys have been exposed to, because obviously they're not a division opponent. You kind of don't have that repertoire, I hope that's the right word, built up with them. So is there any kind of special prep that you're doing for that game in particular that you wouldn't do just because there's not as much like VODs and things like that on them?
We've definitely been looking at their players individually. I know a couple people on the team actually know a couple people on their team as well. Interesting to see how Stomp does in mid. I typically a support player. I think Koala's friends with Swagmaster. He says he has good things to say about him in solo. Definitely told Optic to watch out. Really looking forward to see them play. I was honestly expecting them to be the team that played against Immortal. Having what little we've seen of both teams, I actually thought that they were the stronger of the 2 challenger teams. So, got us sweating a little bit, not gonna lie. Other than that, obviously there's Flippin's team to watch out for, and also Wild Inferno. Definitely putting some heat under us. Watching some of their games, I think if I remember correctly, they're the only team that actually even took a single game off of Flippin's team. So, yeah, definitely think there's somebody to watch out for.
Absolutely. And I think it just goes down to treating it, as if they're any other team in the league. I know, what was it? I remember reading something about, treat us like an easy win. That's exactly what we want. And we're like, Lockenstein got it. Thank you. And it's like, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to treat you just like we treat any other game. Give it our all.
Definitely like to hear that. I think counting those teams out before it starts would be a massive misstep, so hopefully neither division does that. And then kind of moving on from the playoffs and stuff in general, just, a little more broad questions. I want to hear each of your favorite moment from this season. It can be in a game, in a practice, playing Overwatch on the side or something, just in general. What's kind of your fondest memory of the season?
I think fondest memory this season comes from a scrim. Actually, it was obviously our team versus who's the team captain on Fish's team? Is it Fish?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were scrimming against Fish's team, and we had an awful early to mid game. Like we're talking pushed under Phoenix at like 22 minutes. They just dropped a fire giant. It's looking like the type of match where you really just want to say, okay, reset, think about game 2, and we were like, no, screw that, we're fighting this one out. And we held under Phoenix for, I want to say 25-ish minutes, and ended up turning a team fight at Phoenix that ended up to us defending a fire giant and turning a 4v5 into a 4v1 and running it down mid and grabbing their Titan. It was one of those type of games where we thought that we were going to play a 2-game scrim, and we ended up only playing 1 game because it was just that close, like down to the bone type of scrappy match. And that was really a massive confidence boost for us to just hold a Phoenix against a team that has that much strength behind them and that much just raw talent, and to just hold the line like that. I think I was playing Ganesh. I think Giant Dog was on a Mercury at one. The fight that we turned at the Phoenix, he had a 5-man Merc ult. Just absolutely had everybody spinning in their boots, and it was just an amazing moment. All of us were hype. We were yelling so loud our mics were peaking. Just screaming in silence because we were just that excited. Definitely my favorite moment of the season.
I think mine probably would have been, I believe it was our game against Eclipse, maybe. I'm a big fan of running, off meta or sillier comps where they can't really tell who's going where in the draft. So it was that game where we had Evan on the Awelix mid. I think Optic was Sylvanas that game. And we ended up choosing that because they had so many leaps. So it just was like, oh, we'll go Awelix, but we've already picked our jungler. And I just really enjoyed playing that game because I love just that draft in general, keeping other teams on their toes, and we had a lot of fun playing against them.
Yeah, it was scary. Glad I wasn't one of the casters that had to predict that one on the desk. Definitely wouldn't have. But I think finally, and probably the most important question, take all the Smite gods, Smite goddesses. You're playing a 3v3 pickup basketball game. Which 3 are you picking for your team?
Do they get their abilities?
Sure. We'll make it interesting.
Damn, that's a hard question.
Sorry.
Well, I think if they get their abilities, I think we have to put Cupid in there just so that he can nullify movement abilities with his ult.
Very smart. No
I think if you don't do that, you just get ran at. Just have Merc ult across the court to your hoop.
I think you need the Dunk Master himself in there, Odin, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you go Cupid, Odin, and then not to be predictable, but I think you got to throw the Geb in there for the anti-CC.
Geb becomes the ball.
Yeah, red for Geb. Get that out there. I'm getting that red buff. It's happening.
Not a bad Joust comp either.
Ooh. Luckily, it's not Joust. I mean, hey, who knows? Geb with red buff. Could definitely see Evan rocking that one. But I think that does wrap up all the questions we have today. So thank you so much to the two of you for joining me. And I think I speak for all the production when congratulations on the awesome season you guys had, and best of luck going forward.
Yeah, could I throw another favorite moment in there real quick, actually?
Yeah, of course.
So every set, Koala has floated the Ymir pick. And every time you guys have casted on it as if we were going to pick the Ymir, he's done it every single time, and we have not thrown the Ymir out once. That's been my favorite part of watching through our games, even though obviously I played in the games. I know how the games went, but that has been one of my favorite parts about watching the YouTube videos is hearing you guys talk about the Ymir pick. And you're just like, okay, they have a Geb, they have a Nazah that we know is going solo, they have a Fenrir. What are they doing with this Ymir? Where could this Ymir go? And then obviously we end up picking something else. But yeah, looking to catch you guys off guard with actually locking Ymir one of these times.
And you know it's going
Definitely will
carry.
not be prepared for it. Oh my
Oh yeah,
gosh.
definitely Ymir
Koala
carry.
Ymir would go nuts. Oh, we can hope for one of them these times. All right. But with that out of the way, best of luck to you all in your playoffs run. And yeah, I think that about does it.
All right, thank you much.
Hello, everyone. Hope you're all enjoying Smite Draft League Season 2 playoffs. I'm Deelo, joined here by two members of semifinalist team Divine Flourish, the mighty mid Z-Tantalus, and their stalwart solo Craig. Craig and Z-Tan, thank you guys very much for joining me.
Hello, welcome.
Good
Welcome
evening.
to both of you
Thanks
as
for
well.
having us.
Of course. Really appreciate you guys making the time for us. It's always good to be able to get to know the faces behind the players, get to know the faces behind the gods, the personalities, and all that stuff. Always helpful. So, just going to get right on into it. Z-Tan, I'm starting off with you, my friend. I got a question for you. As the mid laner, what do you think is the most important element to you of a successful 3v3 core?
Ooh, that's a lot, man.
Break it down for me. Break it down.
The mid
forward.
3v3 relies very heavily on the jungle presence and the support setup. You know, I as the mid don't find myself to be super important in it. All I really do is do damage
Really?
and follow up. Everything gets set up by the support and the jungle. All of the call outs, all of the comms, everything else. I'm just there to hit things.
I think you're underrating yourself a bit too much, my friend, but I respect the humility. Okay, very fair. Thanks, Z10. Craig, my friend, back to you now. When it comes to the solo lane vibe, is your dream game one where you're free farming up to level 20 with 0 kills and deaths? Or is it one where you're rotating sub 5-minute mark to try to open up with some really early team engagements?
I'll be honest with you. I don't really care about the laning phase. I could get soloed 7 times and I could care less. I'd rather just team fight.
Okay.
Can confirm. I've seen him do it.
Yeah, in another
we won't
league,
talk
I
about
literally
that.
was like feeding, and I was like, dude, oh, excuse me. I was like, dude, who cares? I was like, wait till I team fight.
Cut! Roll to black, we're screwed! No, you're good, man. So in that case, you're saying that you'd prefer to go to those early engagements as early as possible. You want to rotate over, cause hell for the mid lane?
Yeah, I'd rather just team fight. I think laning is like pointless in Smite with TP, so I do think team fighting is actually more important than laning.
That's a very fair point. Okay, so getting into speaking of the kind of current climate of the meta, so Season of Hope's obviously here. Season of Hope's been here for a bit, might be here for a bit longer. When it comes to Season of Hope, guys, just in general, how are we enjoying it, and what opportunities, if any, has it opened up for each of you as players?
It's been interesting. We went from a meta at the end of season 9 where hunters were the most absurd thing on earth. Nothing could beat them. And then it shifted. And now, with the second major balance change, certain gods throughout Smite's history, people just kind of hate. Loki's pretty universally hated.
This is true.
After the second change, have now grown to despise Aphrodite and anyone who plays her.
I think it's a lot of people.
You know, I think they just hit her with a nerf in the patch, but you know, we're kind of at a point where it's like I'm not risking it. I don't care if you removed 5% of the protections. I don't want that god in my match. Not
That's
at all.
fair. I think, I mean, based on the picks and bans we've been seeing, especially on the ban side, I think many of the teams, 99% of them, in fact, would agree with you on that one. Thank you guys for your opinions on that one. Appreciate it. As we look at the shifting landscape of Smite, always interesting to see what that means for each player individually. All right, getting a bit silly with it now. Craig, my friend, I got a question for you. Someone well acquainted with this item tree. If you had to choose one of the breastplates to wear from the game for the rest of your life, which one are you rocking, man?
If I had to pick
fashion,
one,
high fashion.
I'm definitely picking What's that one that does the damage?
I
The
hope you
Contagion
know. Come on, man. This is your job. Wait, what?
Contagion. There you go. I couldn't remember the name. Yeah, I'd wear Contagion. It reminds me of my gun vest, so it actually goes with what I wear.
Oh, okay. So you got something similar you're rocking in your closet. Contagion's
Yeah.
kind of fire though, low key. I mean, it's got like the purple and the lime. Like low key looks kind of fire. All right,
Yeah.
I'm rocking with that one. Honestly, that's a good one. I kind of like breastplate though. Personally, the gold and the blue. I think it goes pretty well together.
Yeah, but
All
it has
right.
an upgrade now, so it doesn't count.
Ah, okay. No, true. You're right. I rescind my answer. Thank you. Z-Tan, my man. Back to you now. Would you rather be blinded by Ra's divine light or deafened by his laugh?
Definitely deafened. I read way too much to be blinded.
Oh, all right. Which book you read last, man?
Red
Okay,
Rising,
okay.
Pierce Brown, House of Hades, Rick Riordan.
Hey, respect.
The Magicians,
That's
Lev
consistency right
Grossman.
there. This man knows his mythology.
Oh, of course.
I
Of
respect
course.
that. That's tough, man.
That was actually the Percy Jackson series was what endeared me to Smite.
Low key, kind of. I was a mythology nerd beforehand as well, and this was a really good way to channel that into. That's awesome, man. I'm glad you found a way to kind of mix the two together there. Badass. Alrighty, thank you guys very much. Reeling it back in a little bit. So Divine Flourish is already sitting pretty. Semifinal spot. Must be feeling good about that. Congratulations, by the way. In your eyes, both of you, how do you guys balance resting on your laurels and your victories and making sure you don't lose momentum? And either one of you are welcome to take that.
I just play Yorm and Nike. Honestly, I just pick a god. I'm just there for the vibes. As everyone knows, I'm just there. I just keep the team morale up when I'm there.
Yeah, you asked
you
asked earlier what Craig's ideal game would be, and I almost kind of cut in there and said a game where he gets to play Yorm in all the whole set.
Do you find yourself getting banned out the Yorm a lot?
I don't know why they ban it, dude. I'm just playing Yorm. I'm just a Yorm. I don't know what to say.
I mean,
I just want to post game
that's
after
fair.
and be like, GG, I played Yorm. GG, I played Nike.
Nice, man.
You know,
Were you saying, Z-Tan?
as far as it goes, really, I try to go into every match, no matter what I know about the opposing team, whether I've played them before or not. I go into every match assuming that I'm going to get my ass beat until it's proven otherwise. I try to play carefully. I try to play the same, regardless of what I know. And I try to tell my teammates to do the same thing. Of course, you get those games where you go into them and they're like, we're gonna fry these dudes, and it's like easy. Like let's just fry them. Let's not talk about it too much. Overconfidence can be a killer. Confidence is good, but overconfidence can be bad.
He's just trying to say that he keeps me and flipping humble.
So it sounds like you really are the anchor of the team there, Z-Tan. It's important to have that balance, right? You want the people who are striving for greatness, and you want the people who say reel it in a little bit. I appreciate the little yin and yang you guys got going.
Z-Tan lives on the motto of he gets up 8 times but falls down 7. That's his motto.
Ooh, I like that. Inspiration Nation right now.
Did I change my motto this morning? Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm gonna rock you guys with one last question before we head on out here. So, we don't know your opponent quite yet, obviously, as you guys do have that semifinal spot. But without diving into too much detail, because of course you guys got to keep some things under lock and key, are there any deets when it comes to strategy you guys can throw at us beyond Nike and Yorm? Can't do that one. You've already done that one. Sorry, Craig. But any hints at strategy, tactics you guys got going here?
They can't ban me out. I'm gonna play whatever I want. That is actually like a known fact. Like I'm gonna play whatever I want. So if they ever try to go like the solo route, it's probably not the route to go.
Yeah, I mean our general go-to, the last few weeks has been, having me pick in the second round. We let me eat as many bans as possible. My god pool can take it, and that frees my teammates up to play whatever they want.
That's smart.
Teams they've been throwing the bans at either me and Flippin'. And it's nice to see. Your ego likes to see it. We played a scrim the other day where the bands looked like Scylla, Morgan. It was looking like Paul at Worlds a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
I think it was Kel ban.
Priority.
We just try to play off each other. as best we can. I guess we'll see when these semifinals brackets roll around, but I'm feeling pretty good
Yeah.
about it.
And you should be feeling pretty good about the spot you guys are in. You guys have certainly a good amount of reason to feel good about it. So thank you guys very much for talking. That'll be all the time we have for us today. Once again, I'm Deelo, joined here by the lads of Divine, Flourish, Zetan, and Craig. Thank you guys both very much for joining, and best of luck in your playoff run here. Wishing you guys best of luck
Appreciate
going
it,
into
buddy.
it with all your
Thank
strats.
you, sir.
And for my people at home, thank you all for watching. Stick around, of course, for more Smite Draft League playoffs action. We'll see you all next time.
Hello, I've got some guys with me today from Divine, Dark Omen. I've got Gear Chief and Spence Spark with me. Thank you guys for taking the time to talk with me.
No problem, man.
Yeah.
All right,
Glad
so
to be here.
yeah, of course. Thank you again for joining. I mean, so cool we get to do these this season. I wish we could have done them last season too, but hey, this year we had the time. So let's just get right to fun stuff and questions. We're at playoffs. You know, you guys are a couple days away from your game. And I've cast a lot of games across all the divisions, but a lot in Divine, and a lot of Dark Omen games. And something that caught my eye was there's a lot of synergy in play styles where you guys play off each other's strengths really well. Can you guys talk to me a bit about kind of the behind-the-scenes team dynamic and what exactly makes that teamwork successful? You know, the shot caller, the guy who only types in chat, enemy missing for 20 minutes, that kind of thing.
So, a big thing that I said when everyone kind of first joined in, before we made any trades or anything, and I still kind of emphasized it, was I was very excited for this because I want to have fun with this season. Because I've known from past seasons some people have been a bit toxic. There's been fighting. I know from some other leagues, people just kind of they get together to play, and then all of a sudden they don't talk until the game time. So one thing I stressed is like, look, I don't, whether win or lose, I just kind of want us to go into this and have as much fun as possible and do our best. You know, work off of each other, and it's been a blast. Everyone's been so constructive. Everyone's just kind of try to work off each other. There has been some issues just because everyone is so competitive and they want to do the best.
For sure.
So that's the biggest thing. But other than that, we kind of struggled with shot calling at one point, but thankfully Spence has been taking up underneath Fish, and he's been learning underneath Fish. So Spence has been
okay.
really kind of leading us in the shot calling.
Awesome. And,
Yeah,
and what's that been like for you, Spence?
So a lot of the throughout the season, we kind of didn't exactly have like a, shot caller. Like we didn't have like a one guy who was, making like 90% of the calls, and so it was kind of like a little bit muddy in the comms. And then there was one scrim where I think Volg wasn't there, and he's a big talker. So I don't know if it was because like he wasn't talking so much, but like I felt like there wasn't enough comms going on, so I just kind of
took the reins.
Yeah, and it worked out pretty well in that scrim. So I kind of suggested, hey, this is it worked pretty well when we did it this way, so we're trying to put that into place and see if we can get anywhere with it and working on that.
Hey,
So.
I mean, that's awesome. That's how those things work. A lot of times, that's where the stuff that works gets discovered, is in scrims. You can actually find time to make scrims, which tends to be another problem teams have. But when they do, you actually learn valuable information.
Spence makes sure we have scrims every day. And
Miss
not only that, every day he's like, "Oh, so we scrimming today?" I was like, "Spence, we just scrimmed yesterday until like 10 o'clock at night. I had to be awake."
Hey, that's the
so are we
difference
scrimming
between
today?
top and bottom teams a lot of times.
Oh no, I agree, and it's just funny because I'll be
sure.
sending out the message. All right, fine. Who wants to scrim today? First one to reply, Spence. I'm good to scrim. Like, oh, really? You don't say.
That's awesome.
I would scrim
love
every day
that.
if I could.
Yeah.
So that's interesting that happened with basically a quiet scrim kind of turning into the excitement. You mentioned Volk talks a lot. So are you guys incorporating now kind of a combination of shot calling between jungle support and working that into the play styles?
Yeah. He's a big talker, and he makes a lot of calls. I think especially Volg shines in the early Gold Furies. Man, it'll be like 6 minutes in, and we'll get a pick, and I'm thinking about going back to my jungle camps and farming, and Volg will be like, gold, and I'm just like, wait, you're right.
I love
so
that.
that's always crazy for.
Yeah, and throughout the whole season, it's kind of been a combination of Spence, Volg, and I making calls. I only usually kind of chime in towards the end because I'm stuck in Soul, and
you're on an island.
Soul lane skull bashing the other Soul laner.
Finally get to join the game.
Yeah, and then we join the game. That's like, all right, I'm here.
Yeah, that's It is the Netflix lane for sure. So with that, talking about shot calling, let's talk before the game. So with picks and bans, and I mean, obviously, I don't want you guys to give away, too much of your upcoming strategies, but even just in general, what is something that you guys in particular look at when you're in picks and bans? Because a lot of teams win and lose their games in picks and bans, when some others are kind of like, ban whatever, we'll play whatever.
So I think picks and bans have definitely fluctuated. So we had our second game and we just weren't picking right. We picked too many late game characters and we couldn't sit through it. So early we were just kind of learning ourselves. And then we had a scrim go on, or a game, I forget what it was, and I noticed something in one of our players and I was like, all right, here's what you have to do. If you want to do this type of god, you can do them in scrims, but if we're going to play sets, we need you to run this one. So that person was either setup or carry or dive.
Right.
I'm not going to say again specifically which, but I noticed, and then I put them on that, and then we just started doing a lot better. We started competing better. We started winning more, and that's where our picks and bans started getting a bit tighter. So when we first started, we were just kind of doing banning meta and picking meta. Then as we started learning who the players were and what we could do, that's when we started actually like targeting certain picks. And then the bans kind of remained meta. There's some bans that we need to kind of respect ban for some players, but other than that, it's Afro can't see the light of day.
Yeah,
you got to be careful of like specific mid laners, but other than that, that's about it. It's usually very situational.
For sure, and I feel like you guys are on the receiving end of target bans, especially recently as we're getting later. A lot of like the almost less hyper carry and kind of more your early peak, and then they kind of stay consistent junglers are getting impacted for you guys. So how are you guys adapting to those picks? I mean, again, I understand you got to keep some things under wraps, but when it comes to like you guys mentioned you're a very scrim heavy team. So when you're in those scrims, are you saying, hey, let's just try this pick and see what happens and see if you find an accidental pocket pick?
Yeah. That's you can go scrims.
Yeah. So there's a god I played in a scrim actually the other day, and I have never actually played him in an actual conquest game before. Literally, I was just we were doing picks and bans, and I was just looking at their team, and I was like, man, this god would go so crazy here, but I've never played him before. So I was like, I'm gonna play it, and it actually turned out pretty well. So we're definitely always down to try stuff, and I like how if I say that, then we're like, it's a scrim, go for it. Like, we'll see how it is. If certain, and because we try a lot of different gods and a lot of different comps, even if certain like you said, certain like junglers that aren't like hyper carries are getting banned or whatever, there's multiple gods that can do the similar sort of like role and that peak at specific times in the games. So like if we notice one thing's getting banned, then we'll try and find other ways to do what we need to do instead of
right,
just kind of picking something that wouldn't be good.
Yeah, that's definitely the smartest approach to take. So let's talk more about approach. So for your first round, you're taking on Divine Sanctified. And again, I'll repeat the same thing a million times for every interview I do, but without giving too much away, going into that, what almost less so your plans, because I think your plans have already kind of been established. What's your expectations going into that match? What's something that you kind of expect to be thrown at you that you guys are like, we're ready for this particular thing? I mean, we can, just for example's sake, I can reference things like for a Mortal Division, Remarkable Wolf already expecting his Rama to get banned, and then planning around things like that. Do you guys have anything like that? I know it's tough to dance around too. Don't worry.
Yeah. So I think I expect some bans going our way, and it's tough too because you're sitting there in the dilemma. It's like, all right, do we play these gods that we know we can really roll with and secure the game, or do we play gods we're a little less comfortable on to kind of hide how competitive we are with certain gods? So that's the big problem, right? Because no disrespect to Sanctified, but they're not Flourish or they're not Sunbreakers. So and I would expect them to think the same thing as think of us too, right? We're not Flourish or Sunbreakers. So
yeah,
if you're
everyone
playing
is
a team that
2 steps ahead for sure.
Yeah, so if you're playing that type of team, or you're really expecting, which anybody in playoffs should be expecting to play one of those two teams, you want to make sure you keep enough hidden that they're not ready for it, right? But at the same time, you want to make sure that you can afford to keep it hidden, right? Because it doesn't matter how good you are with some god. So let's say Spence is amazing with Pele, right?
Mhm.
And he hides the Pele, but then we'd never get past it because we never use his Pele. Or Volg's great on, let's say, a support
Yeah,
Merlin. Like all of a sudden
yeah,
he's a support
exactly.
Merlin that he's great with. But we can't manage to make that work late game or in a later series because we're too busy trying to hide it. So that's the big line we're trying to dance right now, and that's why we're trying to do scrims, is to see what other gods we can comfortably push with, we can comfortably play with, so we can guarantee a win without exposing all our cards. So I think that's the big idea right now.
That's a great approach, honestly. Do you have anything you want to add, Spence? I saw you kind of like getting giddy as he was talking.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we're gonna try and win. We already played them earlier in the season, and so I expect that they're going to have something cooked up for us. So it all comes down to how they prepare versus how we prepare, and I'm trying to win it all. So
That's the
I
best
think that
attitude.
I think that we can do it. I think that we have what it takes to win the whole thing, and it's just on us to execute. So
That's certainly the best attitude to have. All right, so I got just two more questions for you guys, and they're both a bit more lighthearted. Don't worry, less secrets to give away.
All
So
good.
every team's got their core players, but less about skill. Who's your kind of like emotional leader? Who do you guys rally around? Because especially in Divine and Immortal, obviously less so in something like Godlike, where they all play each other 15,000 times every weekend, so they're kind of unfazed by these things. Who's somebody that, like, if some tilt starting to creep in, who's the guy who kind of sets you guys back on track?
I would say so. It's different for each one, right? So if I'm one of the things about me is I'm doing better about it, but I'm very like with the emotion of the swing of the game. So I'm not. If there's tilting, it's gonna be me. But
So you're the guy
Volk,
slamming his desk, but you're the guy screaming like "Let's go" if you make a
yeah,
play, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So if we're going right, like I'm hyping everyone up. When Spence got his unofficial penta, right?
Right.
I was sitting there hyping him up. So if we're gassing forward, I'm sitting there charging us. But I would think that Volg is kind of the guy to um like kind of pick us back
Yeah,
up or at
fitting
least
to a
try.
support for sure too.
Yeah. I think he'd be the one to really kind of help us like stand back up. And yeah, I think that's the best way to put it. But it's always I would say Spence is the guy to actually get the game hype because he's pulling big plays. So I'll sit there and scream and support anyone, but he's the guy to kind of get the like the game going. He's the one
I
that
gotcha, yeah.
he's the one that gets the gas to the pedal. I'm screaming more and more.
I got you.
So
I mean, that's the perfect dynamic. Getting that kind of baton pass, it's a perfect way to get things going. And for the last one, I'll start with you on this one, Spence, and you guys can both answer this because it's a bit more fun. So you guys are we're having a party, right? Your whole team's throwing a party together. Who's filling what role? Like who's the mom? Who's the one who's making sure everybody's safe and together? Who's got like the loud mouth? Who's the one who's like, all right, I'm going to bed and it's 10:30. And we'll start with you, Spence.
Yeah, I actually want to just go off of like what Gear said about the team mental from the last
Of course,
question.
yeah.
I
ahead.
do want to say that Gear did a great job of drafting this team and the trades as well. The one thing that I really like about this team is that 95% of the time our whole team has really good mentals. Like we could be
That's
down
huge,
and
yeah.
like we don't. I mean, Gear already admitted to it a little bit, but other than that, literally like none of us tilt. Like I got to give shout outs to Neptune, Nep. Guy will get like ganked. He'll go like 0-5, and he'll be like, "Oh man, I died!" Like with a smile on his face, and so Neptune has to be the funny guy at the party for sure. Volg is probably he's the one who's playing the party games.
Okay, I can see. Like he's the guy who like everyone's like getting ready to drink, and he's like, "Wait, weren't we gonna play Jenga?"
Yeah, exactly. I would have to
Loon-
say that. Yeah. Well, go
Looney
here.
would probably already be drunk. He'd arrive to the party drunk.
Honestly, yeah, true.
Okay, I mean
JDM's
that
gotta be the
person's important
mom.
at a party.
Yeah, he'd be the one arriving drunk. But he'd also be like one of the lives of the party.
Yeah.
JDM would probably
I
be
was gonna say, I
like
heard he's the mom.
yeah.
That
JDM
makes
would
sense.
I could see him being the mom. But he'd also be kind of like he'd be the chill mom, I guess is the way to say, where he'd be taking care of everyone, but he wouldn't be excluding himself from it.
Right. Like he might hold your hair back, but he's got a drink in the other hand, kind of thing.
Exact. Yeah.
I got
yeah.
you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's important at parties like that.
Me, I'd be sitting in the corner bouncing to the music like a white guy until I actually got a couple drinks in me, and then I'd probably be the one jumping on a table.
So you've got a bell curve kind of thing to it.
Oh yeah, big time. But and I gotta say, it's been a blast with all these guys because Looney's really popped up and helped us out. JDM has been instrumental because when we traded and we got him, he was a solo support, but he's been doing a lot of carry, and he's been doing really good in some of these matches too. That makes
That's
you
not
kind
an easy
of
change either.
no, not
Right,
at
yeah.
all. Because it was originally going to be me, so I was thinking, oh, I'd try this out, and we went to a couple casuals, and I just for the sake of my dignity, I'll just say he did better. So
Hey, it is what it is.
then, yeah. So we went to casual, and he just rocked it out, and we're like, all right, you're gonna do it. You'll be. He's like, oh, okay. So we've had some coaches, and luckily, Immortal Sunbreakers or no, Immortal Wild Inferno
Wild
is like our
Inferno,
sister.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like our sister team.
Yeah.
So Fish and all of them have been really helping us out, and they really helped JDM out.
You guys
But I
got a
just
lot
wanted
of
to
gas
shout.
from Immortal Oathkeepers as well. Not sure if you guys saw that interview.
Really?
came
Yeah.
out as of day of this. Yeah, they were gassing you guys up, especially Alec.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Cosmic is Cosmic's actually one of my friends from real life. I went to high school
Oh,
with him.
okay.
So I'd expect to get some gas
See, now
from
that
him.
makes sense. Well,
So
I'm so glad we're
also-
doing these.
Volg is actually, they know each other too. So I
Yeah.
drafted them, had no idea. They hop in the VC, and they're
That's
like, oh
really
yeah,
funny.
we know each other. And I'm like, really? And they go, yeah.
That's
looks like
really
He knows
funny,
how to pick
especially
them.
as an accident.
Yeah. Because I was sitting there looking at the draft picks, like, oh, we'll do Spencer Jungle, and I always had my eye on Volg as a support, and they hop in like, oh yeah, we're friends. I'm like, oh really? Like, oh, this other person too. Like, the sub for the Sunbreakers right now, they know him as
Oh,
well.
okay.
So
That's
Yep.
awesome. We love to hear that. And I mean, all right, this has been fantastic again. Thank you guys. Do you have any last things you want to say? Any totally polite, totally respectful trash talk? Any just general statements you want to say before we end here?
I think we're slept on, and I think we have a chance to win this all, and I'm very excited to disappoint a whole bunch of teams.
All right.
So-
That's my favorite kind of energy. What about you, Spence?
You don't go into playoffs expecting to lose. So I'm just gonna do what I can, and at the end of the day, we want to be holding the trophy.
Oh, right. I love that. That's been my favorite type of energy every time that those get answered. And certainly wish you guys the absolute best of luck. Can't wait to be a part of your games and see how far you make it. Thank you guys again, Gear Chief, Spence Spark. And yeah, appreciate it so much.
Thank you very much.